One morning in the late autumn of 1952, Ramsey had been called to the carriage siding at Refuge by Mr. Stard for a private chat. He arrived a few minutes early, only to find Mr. Stard already there, finishing a dispute with one of the workers there. Look, the Grampians have worked fine since we got them, and they will continue to do so for many more years. We don't need these fancy new Mark I they keep going on about. Now if you'll excuse me. He walked over to where Ramsey had pulled up, looking over his shoulder to ensure that no one was within earshot, before turning to Ramsey again. Good morning, Ramsey. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. Everything okay here?
Oh, that? Don't worry. It's just a workman trying to get the Grampians retired again. All this talk of these fancy new Mark I's is driving me mad, I tell you.
Oh no, not the Grampians again. The passengers love those, but I'm guessing you didn't take me out of traffic just to bitch about the coaching issues.
No, of course not. I have some more intel on that new freight contract at the industrial estate, and I'm afraid it's not all good.
Oh, let me guess. It's a limited contract, isn't it?
Oh, on the contrary. The contract actually includes having 3 loaded trains a day taken from the estate to different locations. One service goes to Hinksey, and the other to Acton Yard, where they will be divided and taken on to wherever they need to go in the country. This is exactly what we need with the freight traffic slowing down.
Well, that's excellent news.
Unfortunately, that's as far as the good news go. For us, anyways.
What do you mean?
The board have come to the conclusion that this is exactly what's needed for an excellent PR stunt to show off their new locomotives. They're planning on advertising this freight operation as the first exclusively hauled BR standard train. The first of many to come, I imagine.
Hang on, that doesn't make any sense. There is no way in hell Gregory can make those journeys back and forth 3 times a day, let alone being in 2 places at once, and he's the only standard we have on the line. Unless... wait. Don't tell me.
Mr. Stard nodded, with a grim look taking over his face. I voiced these exact concerns at the meeting earlier, and unfortunately I didn't get much in the form of a reply. Just a simple, we've got it covered. Though I'm pretty sure I heard the words, roster change, as I was leaving the meeting.
Sir, you can't let that happen.
I'm not planning on it, but I don't know what to do here. I'm pretty hard-pressed with everything on my plate at the moment. This is the last thing I need. I simply don't have the time to sit down and work out a plan, so I'm leaving this one to you and the rest of the guys.
Wait, to us?
I've told a few of the others to meet you at Colford later to come up with a plan. You have 3 days to work something out before the first train leaves. Good luck.
Hey, wait, I have more questions!
Bye!
Motherfucker.
That evening, Ramsey, Darius, and Riley had gathered at Colford as per the instructions of Mr. Stard. The news of British Railways' plans for the new contract had been met with angry murmurs and many swears, and after Ramsey was done explaining, Riley broke the silence.
So that's it then, we're just fucked.
No, Riley, we're not. We've just got to find a way to change the mind of the contractors on this whole BR standards only thing. We got to prove us non-standard designs can do the job just as well as they can.
Exactly, but how will we do that? If we're not even allowed to haul the train for them, we'll never be able to show it off.
Indeed.
Just then, the familiar black shape of Buck's tender reversed into the sheds, much to the surprise of the other engines. Sorry I'm late, guys. I got caught up with something. What did I miss?
What the hell are you doing here?
Didn't you have a local goods to take tonight?
Oh, that? Don't worry, I have it covered.
Somebody fucking help me!
Right. Anyways, do you even know what's up? Sure do, I read the script.
The what?
So, the penny pinchers are being difficult again, are they? I know just the thing.
If it involves drugs or assault again, you can forget it.
Oh, but come on! Those are my favorite! It's not the problems with the human, Buck. It's trying to show that we can outclass the newer designs, specifically Gregory. So, are we talking like angle grinder to coupling rods kind of sabotage, or jam brakes kind of sabotage?
No, that's way too far. You're not bringing harm to him.
Wait, that's it!
What is it, Ramsey?
If we can get an extra wagon on that train to have the brakes jammed on and have someone weaken the coupling, we can make it look like he's not careful enough with his train. That way, when the coupling breaks, no one will be harmed and we'll make it look like he's too inexperienced to handle their trains.
That could actually work, you know. But there is a slight problem.
And what would that be?
Jim.
Oh shit, you're right.
What about him?
No one fucks with his estate. He knows everything that goes on in there at all times, and if anything disrupts his work, there is sure to be hell to pay.
I know how. I've already worked out how to get around it with a minimal chance of getting caught. However, we will need more help.
Oh really? Do tell.
Okay, so, first of all, we'll need a van of some sort. Preferably one from the work so it's less likely to be noticed.
This should do the trick.
Next, we need to make someone leave their wagons on the viaduct to cause some issues for Jim. Mainly to get him to fuck off for a bit. I can handle this as I'm pretty sure I'll run into the next train to the estate on the way up. Hey Russell, Jim wanted me to let you know that he'll be doing some movements in the estate, and for you to leave your wagons at the viaduct.
Again? Well, fine by me. Saves me having to interact with the cunt.
After that, Riley should be on time with his run to the estate. You'll have to inform him of the train sitting on the viaduct without raising suspicion.
And how do I do that?
You'll figure something out.
Hey Jim, I think there's been some miscommunication. Russell has left his train on the viaduct, had to reverse and wrong road in.
Again? I barely get a rest as it is, and now I get even less thanks to this railway's incompetence! Once Jim is fucked off, you and your assistant will have to split the wagons in the siding, then put a van in the middle. He'll split it, and you put the van in place before going to get your next train.
Who will help me?
Don't worry, I have that covered.
There is no way in hell I'll help you with that. Too risky.
If you help, I won't tell anyone, especially Mr. Stard, about your stash of dirty magazines, including the one of his daughter.
When and where?
Next, you need to wait for Jim to haul the train up. As soon as he passes you, you have to move quickly. Clark first, and then you, so that your train blocks the view of him. If all goes to plan, you should be able to get out of Dodge with minimal suspicion. That's quite the impressive plan. How long have you had that one in your head? I literally just made it up.
Ha! You literally had 30 seconds to think about it.
Hey, my mind works fast when need be. Now get yourself some rest. You're gonna need it for tomorrow, but you need to get that van before you can rest, Riley. It's quite essential. You head out first, and then I have to go up to Redwick. My brother's up to today, and I can't wait to see him.
Yeah, no worries, I'll handle it. I was going to stay the night at Manifell anyways. I heard rumours about a poker night going on there, and I'm not missing out on that. Night, guys.
The engine scheme had indeed gone off without a hitch, and soon the big day had arrived with Lavinery Industries' first train to be hauled out. Many distinguished gentlemen who had invested in the industry had also shown up with a handful of reporters to commemorate the event of the line's first BR standard only hauled train. However, along with these men, there was an odd one out, a man with ties with the railway known as... well, if it isn't Lord Henry Dexby.
And if it isn't B.A. Stard?
I wasn't expecting to see you here today. What brings you all the way from Kent?
Well, I am always watching, and when I learned there was a new company being set up near my business, I had to ensure they weren't here to cause any unfortunate issues.
Well, let's just not try to cause any issues like what happened the last time you were here. Look, Dexby, just because you're the closest ballast provider, it won't automatically make you the only one I'll use from now on.
You dare defy Lord Dexby's word?
My word is final. Now scoot over, old man.
You're talking mad shit for someone within tanking distance. Ah, yes, that. It's funny you honestly believe that was the last time I was here.
Wait, what?
How would you look at that? The speech is over.
I now declare this first of many trains hauled by this BR standard ready for departure.
The man blew a whistle and waved the green flag as Gregory happily whistled back and opened the cylinder cocks. There was a round of applause as Gregory's wheels started to move. However, the applause quickly turned into murmurs of confusion as the bystanders noticed how much Gregory was struggling to get the train moving. His driver yelled up to him, "Come on, boy! Are you even trying?"
Of course I am. It's not moving.
Go on then, give it some welly, lad.
You want some power, dear? I'll give you what you want.
At that moment, Gregory made his mistake. As he gave it all he had, the coupling on the Sabotage van snapped, sending Gregory surging forward. The young engine panicked and slammed his brakes on hard, skidding to a halt.
What just happened?
Now you've gone and fucking done it. You've torn a coupling. We're going to have to ditch the van you broke. I know I told you to give us some more power, but this won't look well for the company, or British Railways. His driver was right. He could already hear the angry murmurs of the gentlemen watching, as well as the flashes of the cameras as the reporters took as many pictures as they could of his mishap. His driver was about to move him when a loud screeching sound was heard from Gregory's wheels.
Ow, what the hell was that?
Oh God, please don't tell me.
Wait, what happened?
His driver climbed down from the cab and began to inspect his wheels, and by the time he had finished his inspection, the foreman, a British Railways representative, and Mr. Start had made their way up to him, and immediately began their questioning. It's not good, sirs. It looks like he managed to jam his brakes when he did his little panic stop. We can probably force them open again with the sledge, but moving him is out of the question for now, unless you want more damage to his wheels. How could this have happened? He's a top-of-the-line standard design. This shouldn't be possible. With all due respect, sir, he's a machine. It could have happened to any engine on the line, new or old. He spoke with a slight tone of sympathy for the young engine, making Gregory feel a little more at ease.
That doesn't help the fact that my first shipment is now going to be late. Sourcing out a replacement will take ages.
Not necessarily, sir. With all due respect, I know the whole image of this service was to show off your brilliant standard designs. However, I know my county class, Ramsey, is currently sat at Endon Station as he's not on the roster today. We could probably get him up here in 15 minutes tops. That won't be necessary. We'll have a new standard up here as fast as we can. I'm sure there's one in the area that can... But the foreman spoke up.
Thank you for the offer, sir, but I'm going to have to side with Mr. Stodd here. I'll gladly have him take over the train. His experience with freight workings might garner better results than a brand new, inexperienced engine.
Gregory winced slightly as he heard the foreman talk, ashamed of his failure. Mr. Stodd nodded at the foreman and started walking towards the office to call down to Endon to get Ramsey on the move. But as he got further down the train, he finally got a good look at the van that had its coupling snapped, and his face almost drained of all color. There was no mistaking it. The van he was looking at was one of the ones that he had bought from the scrapyard he had visited a few months ago. But how had it gotten here? Then it hit him. Ramsey and the others. They must have used it to sabotage the train. But this had now shown itself to be a double-edged sword. He knew there would be questions about how it had ended up there. He could already feel his panic setting in as he rushed to the office to make his call. Soon enough, Gregory had been painstakingly moved out of the way, along with the broken van, as Ramsey reversed onto the delayed train. He gave Gregory a sympathetic look as he pulled out of the yard, pouring more salt in his wounded pride. After a while, a few workmen arrived at the yard to take a look at his brakes, and luckily for Gregory, it only took a few hard hits with his sledge to get the brakes off again, allowing for the crestfallen engine to slunk away from the estate in shame. A while after Gregory had left, the foreman, the British Railways representative, and a few workers came to look over the van that had caused the issues. Mr. Start had left soon after Ramsey in a bit of a hurry, claiming he was running late for a meeting and dashing off before he could be questioned any further. It soon became apparent that this wagon was very out of place. The first clue was the livery, Great Western. It hadn't been used for years. The second clue to this was the claim of the foreman that he had never seen the van before today. And after checking the shipment manifest, it was found that the wagon was never intended for a train. In fact, it hadn't even replaced any of the already assigned wagons, just added one more to the 36 already existing wagons. While the wagon number was run through a few lists, the men questioned Jim on why he had put the wagon in the train, but he was as confused as the men questioning him, stating that he had taken the wagons that were already prepared in the sidings as instructed and brought them to the platform. It was only then that the workers had a breakthrough on the ownership of the van, finding it to be recently purchased privately by Mr. Starr not too long ago, causing even further confusion as for how it had ended up in the estate. After the incident, Gregory was sat in the sheds of Colford feeling dreadful. He felt like he had let everyone down with his recent failures. First there was the incident with the mail train, and now he had embarrassed not only himself, but British Railways and Mr. Starr in one fell swoop. Though the derailment and subsequent delay of the mail train hadn't been his fault, he still felt responsible for the accident, and these feelings had only been made stronger after today's failure at the industrial estate. He couldn't help but dwell deeply on the matter, so deep in fact that he didn't see King Richard backing into the sheds before he had almost come to a stop. Hello, Gregory, old chap. How are you holding up?
Not well. I'm an absolute failure. I've let both British Railways and Mr. Starr down. Guess you've come to gloat about how something like this has never happened to you then. Come on then, get it over with.
Actually, I came here with no such thing in mind. I came here to help you work out what happened.
Work out what happened? I already know what happened. I'm a complete failure and I caused an accident. What is there to solve?
Well, I do have some information that may suggest otherwise. Tell me, Gregory, do you know how many wagons were supposed to be in your train today?
Well, there was a total of 36 wagons in the brake van, but I don't see what that has to do with this.
Gregory looked puzzled as he thought for a moment. Ah, well, you see, that's what I heard as well. However, there weren't 36 wagons on your train. There were 37.
So, probably just a last-minute addition. I still don't see the issue here.
Ah, you see, that's what everyone else thought as well. But no one ordered an extra van to be placed on your train. Well, at least no one in charge of the rostering. And it just so happens that the van that caused the incident was the one wagon out of place. Strange coincidence, no?
Look, Richard, if you know summit, then spit it out. I don't have the patience for your damn guessing games.
At this point, an angry frown had formed on Gregory's smokebox. Oh, come on, Gregory, can't you think for yourself? The van was placed there on purpose. And not only that, but it's not even a van owned by any company in the industrial estate. It's a van that Saint Sebastian brought with him the other month when he returned with Mr. Stard. The wagon in particular was supposed to be getting repaired at the works, yet somehow it ended up on your train, the demonstration train showing the versatility of UBR built engines. You don't see something awfully wrong here? Gregory's mind drew a blank. He felt as if an entire rake of coal hoppers had just hit him in the smokebox. However, he then realized something. Mr. Stard had made the last-minute change that night on the mail run and given no explanation for it whatsoever. He knew the accident was going to happen. He had made it happen to him. But why? His confusion faded. It was quickly replaced by anger as the realization dawned upon him.
But that means Mr. Stard did this. I'll bet you he was the one who caused me to derail with the mail train as well. But why? Why has he singled me out? What did I ever do to him? People could have been hurt. My crew. The people watching today. The men from British Railways. I don't get it. It makes no sense.
Perhaps it's not so much you he has an issue with. I believe he's trying to tarnish the reputation of British Railways. And because you are the only locomotive of their design on this line, it would only make sense that he would use you as a way to get at them, trying to make them look bad through you, so to speak. We have been speculating this for a while now, especially after all he's done with that pannier tank and the useless branch line of his he holds so dear. So far it's all been speculation and theories, but now we have some form of proof. The railway investigators are currently looking into his recent actions to determine a course of action, so all we can do now is wait.
But to risk harming innocent people and engines, that's inexcusable. How could he be so reckless and carefree? It makes me sick to the tubes.
I don't know, old chap. All I know is we can't allow this to go on. We have our suspicions about who is helping him in his mad crusade against British Railways. Unfortunately, we don't have any proof of that part of his plan. Yet. Anywho, I have to get to Redwick. The express won't pull itself now, will it? I bid you farewell, Gregory. I hope I can count on you in the future. With that, King Richard set off up the line, leaving Gregory to boil in anger, now a wiser and more determined engine than ever before.
Swiggity swooty, I'm coming for that booty.